I have Let me tell you a story, one of intrigue, one of mystery, one of sci-fi, one of fantasy, everything. Let me tell you a story.
Hey everyone, I am the Esperanza 243. You are here to watch and or listen to me read a book out loud. It is a personal book, actually. This is Aquatica, part 5. Alright, so I believe in part 4, we got to learn quite a bit of things. Garnette and her aunt met up at the lighthouse. She learned more about her birth mom, found out about this nightmare that her mom Amber used to have, and then when the sun started to set, without the moon being over the horizon, even with the moon over the horizon or not, Garnette started changing back into a mermaid, and her aunt Scaly told her that she could either stay on land or go back in the ocean as a mermaid. And this, for me as a writer, is actually a really important part, because that is where, that is like the moment of choice. This was her final moments of whether to stay human or whether to be full mermaid. And of course, you'll find out, and then, of course, that perk that we found out during that part, that she can go on land after her tail is completely dry. That's still an option for her as a mermaid. But because of this final moment, though, she chose to be a full mermaid rather than staying on land, where she would never gain access to her mer family, the mer world. And she chose the mer world over land. Hence the continuation of her adventures. And that's actually where it all ended. I actually ended part 4 with her waking up in this. Well, you're about to find out. Garnette groaned and opened one eye. Light shined into the tunnel. She looked toward it as she opened her other eye. Groaning again, she tried to go back to sleep. It was just the sun shining through the ocean waters. She could still hear the rhythm of the ocean hitting that rock wall. Then Garnette heard bubbling sounds. She cocked her head to listen. "There must be an air pocket or something," she whispered. She paused. "Funny, I didn't hear it yesterday." Of course she didn't. She was distraught. Garnette rubbed her eyes and followed the sounds. It was coming further down the tunnel. Is it possible? She swam down to the end. The tunnel seemed long, almost 2 miles. She had passed some holes. The holes were small or sizable that she could put her fist in. Garnette then came across a big hole, big enough for her to fit in. She looked through the hole and down below her, noticing nothing on the tunnel's floor. Garnette decided to wedge in. She swam as far as she could. In a matter of seconds, there was no more water to swim through. She looked around in confusion. This is a weird air pocket. I wonder what's up there. There was hardly anything to hold on to, so she did her best to climb up, her fingers slipping on the hard rock. After climbing several feet, she glanced down. Despite her last complaint for her lack of strength, Garnette had her whole body and tail out of the water. I think I'll just stay here a while. Maybe I'll get dry enough to get my legs back, she thought to herself. It took a full 15 minutes for that to happen. She did her best to climb up, making sure her eyes were looking forward or up. She didn't want to know how high above the water she was. The tunnel of the hole turned. She could look forward. Garnette soon noticed something blocking the end, but light shined through the cracks. Garnette reached the end of the hole, pushing away what seemed to be a wall decoration, like a curtain almost. She stuck her head out to see what was there, if there was anything. "Put that over there. I don't want that to break," a man said. Garnette pulled away, but she wanted to know what went on. "Hey, why aren't you guarding out there?" There were 3 men. One of them entered the area, and another left. "Come on. No one knows we're here. We can do whatever we want. We found this place, partner." The first person, the boss it seemed, shook his head. "Do you know what would happen if someone sneaked in?" "No, you don't. Get back out there and make sure no one comes in unless they know our code. Comprende?" "Yeah, I comprende," he murmured, rolling his eyes. No, you fool. Comprendo. It's comprendo," the boss said. "Ugh, just get out of here. Guard the entrance, you idiot." The partner rolled his eyes once more and left. Another person entered the area with a big wooden crate. "Put that there. I want to go through that box." The person put the crate down where he pointed. It was placed close by the covered hole. Garnette could almost read the label on the crate. She craned her head and tried to lean forward. The boss walked to the same crate. She gasped and pulled back, letting the wall decoration cover the hole. He pulled off the wooden top and peered in, pulling out each object on top. "Yes, everything is here. I think we'll be able to pull this off. Just one rip and the king—" They suddenly heard footsteps. "Boss, your partner spotted some people entering through the fence. He wants you to come check it out." The boss scoffed, putting the objects back in. He put the cover back on and left with the man. Garnette listened to their footsteps until she could hear no more. Then she pushed the wall decoration and stepped in. When she stepped out of the hole, she dipped part of the decoration behind itself to keep the hole uncovered. Garnette glanced around. The place looked almost roomy. It had some chairs, a table, a stool, a door leading somewhere, the wall decoration that she opened, a bookcase, and a huge rug. Of course, there were a few boxes and crates, including the one that person brought in. She almost brought up the courage to open the door, but knew she couldn't stay long. Garnette curiously walked to the crate and took the cover off. After a few seconds of looking at the items, she gasped, picking up one. It felt weird and heavy. Was that real fur or faux fur? She shuddered with disgust and put the item back. She heard footsteps again. They were coming her way. Garnette covered the crates quickly and carefully. She hurried to the hole and entered her legs. Grabbing the edge of the wall decoration, she pulled it to hide from the men. She pushed herself away in case they spotted her. Garnette pushed too hard, though. Her knees were almost touching the edge of the tunnel's turn. She gasped. "Uh-oh," she whispered. She turned to lay flat on her stomach. That made it worse. Her knees were past the edge. "Oh!" The weight pulled her down. "Gravity works." The next second, she fell. She looked down and gasped. In less than 15 seconds, she was about to splash in the water. Garnette tried grabbing the tunnel walls to stop falling. It wasn't working. She placed her fingers on the surface and dug her nails into it. Her fingernails were digging into the rock surface as she fell. She cringed in pain. Her nails bled as they broke and chipped. Slowly, her fall was able to stop. Garnette sighed of relief. There was only one trouble, though. One of her toes touched the water. Shining like the moon, her mermaid tail appeared instantly. The weights made her arms hurt. She had to think fast, or she really would make a splash. Garnette sighed as she figured it out. This better not make any sound. Who knows who would be hearing that splash up there, she whispered. Carefully, she let one hand go and reached a lower spot to grab. Then she let the other hand go. She slid into the water. There was hardly any sound. She sighed as she swam off, away from the men. Garnette trembled, though, at the thought of what she found in the box. It was horrible. At first she thought they were little stuffed animals. After touching them, she knew they were stuffed animals made of their own fur or skin. She shuddered, just remembering what they felt like. Garnette was finally out of the hole's tunnel. She swam out to the spots where her shell was, grabbed the shell, and swam out of the cave she slept in. Garnette flew out of the ocean up toward the lighthouse, flipped, and splashed into the ocean. She sighed of satisfaction. Garnette stayed underwater below the lighthouse. If she didn't, and people were climbing the rocks on the edge of Virginia Beach, she would have been seen. That felt good, she said. I didn't think that flip would help. She looked towards the sun. It was almost above her. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. It should be close to noon. She sighed. Time to call Marion. Garnette pulled the seashell to her ear. Meanwhile, at Marion's apartment, she was unpacking the van and moving the stuff into her new room. After a long and hard work, she stopped and started unpacking the boxes. So far, her living room was crowded with boxes, empty Tupperware containers, a couch, a coffee table, and one chair. Her bedroom happened to be less crowded, though it did have a bed, a nightstand, and a tall lamp. Her bathroom was bare, but with the necessities. She'd have to get someone to place a mirror above the sink. The kitchen looked better, though. It had the essentials: refrigerator, dishwater, sink, and stove. She even had a dryer and washer in a small room. The apartment was smartly furnished. Marion was opening a box full of pictures and other sentimental items. She pulled out a picture frame. The picture in it was of her and her cousins when they were kids. They were playing on a playground. She smiled. For a second, Marion thought she heard something vibrating. She ignored the sound and placed the box inside. She opened another box. It was full of kitchenware. Marion smiled and took it to the kitchen. It's a good thing Mom took me shopping. I never would have gotten enough. She heard the vibrating again. It was a bit louder, and it had bubbling sounds. She followed the vibrating and bubbling sounds. It came from a shell her mother gave her. Marion gasped. Garnette! She picked it up and realized she didn't know what to do. Mom said we would be able to communicate with it, so I'd place it next to my ear? She thought to herself. She did so and could hear someone talking. Come on, Marion, pick up, someone muttered. Hello? She said into the shell. Garnette squealed. Ooh! Marion, it's me, Garnette. I need to talk to you. Garnette, I miss you so much. What's going on? Have you met any other mer people? She rushed. Marion was excited to talk to her again. I haven't gone farther than half a mile. At least I don't think so. I don't know why I'm so nervous to go into the ocean, she answered. That's not why I called, though. I need to tell you something. Instead of talking about the previous night, she told her cousin about what she discovered that morning. I don't know how or why, but I just know those things were made of real animal fur. But how is that possible? How do you know? I don't. It's just, when I looked at those things a little longer, I could just somehow feel the pain of all those animals. It really made me sick. I don't know who else to talk to except you and Mom. What are we going to do? I know we can't take this to the police. We don't have any proof. She gasped. I got it. Why don't you go back and bring one of the stuffed animals with you? It's a good idea, isn't it? Garnette rolled her eyes. It's a good idea, Mary, but that won't work. That guy will know one of the items is missing. He'll do anything to get it back, I'm sure of it. She paused. I know. I'll talk to Mom about it. Let's see if I can figure this out and make it three-way. She looked at her shell closely. Then she stuck her hand inside the shell. Somehow her hand was able to fit inside. Instinctively, Garnette put one finger on the curve of the shell, and then another and another finger. After that, but keeping her hand inside, she talked into the shell. Mom, can you hear me? After a few minutes, there was no response. Garnette took her hand out. It didn't work. Hang on, let me get another shell. She took the shell away from her ear and went back to the beach. Wait a minute, Garnette. Hello? Marion paused and shifted her weight to her right leg. Did you just hang up on me? She scoffed and rolled her eyes. She decided to wait for her cousin to come back on the line. Garnette carefully crawled on the beach, looking around for beachgoers. There was hardly anyone there. She quickly found a good shell and returned to the waterlogged cave. She held up the other shell. Okay, Marion, I found a shell. I'll call Mom and ask her what to do. Wait, Nettie, I want to ask you something. What? She was a bit shocked. Why does she want to ask something at this point? What happened last night? Mom acted weird when she came back to the hotel. Garnette gasped. Oh gosh, that's why I was supposed to call you. I was really hoping to tell you about that, but then that whole situation this morning distracted me. I'm gonna have to tell you later. We need to figure out what to do with those guys. I have this weird feeling they're doing something illegal besides animal killing. I want to find out what it is. No, Garnette O'Connell. First Mom acted like she knew something. Now you're acting like you know something. You're putting this off. I want to know what's going on now. I don't care about this illegal ring you want to solve. Garnette gasped. She stifled her sob and almost choked on it. I'm sorry, she whispered. It's just, I'm having a hard time dealing with what I learned last night, Mary. You have no idea what I'm going through. What happened? Worry replaced her anger the next second. She said I was just like my mom. I don't get it. She said you weren't adopted. Marion narrowed her brows as Nettie sighed. I want to... Before I tell you something... Wait, hang on. Marion walked to the living room and sat down on the couch. Okay, shoot. I want to know what my sister knows.
How would you feel of having a cousin?
She chuckled. Marion was confused.
I don't know. I guess I'd feel weird,
considering we don't know any of our cousins. What are you getting at, Nettie?
Mom had a sister.
Oh gosh, really? She paused and gasped.
Now that would explain the other woman in all the family photos.
What family photos? She asked abruptly.
Uh-oh. From the sounds of it, I guess Mom hid it from you.
A beat passed. Wait, what do you mean she had a sister? Wait, had? What happened to her? Garnette sighed, put down the extra shell, and switched hands with the shell she was using.
Mom said she died soon after I was born.
She hesitated.
Marion, I'm your cousin.
She closed her eyes and waited for something to happen. And that's where I stopped. Whew! By the way, I know I've been rubbing my forehead. If you haven't really noticed, it's because I'm sweating. I made it really hot in my apartment to help with the pain that I'm in right now. When there is dramatic weather change, some of my joints starts hurting automatically, and the first joint that started hurting happened to be my hip, and it's been affecting my job. It's driving me nuts, but I'm trying to deal with it, you know. I do have a chiropractor appointment scheduled, which I am so thankful for, and because my budget, well, I'm not going to mention that. I'm so thankful for having a computer genius who is about to be added into the family. Yay! Ah, man, I'm so looking forward to it. And my sister's going to have 2 bridal showers. She already had the first one like this past month. The next one's going to be next year. Ah, so happy for her. Finally! Finally happening. Ah, so excited. And we already picked out the bridesmaid dress. I'm so excited. So excited. Anyways, I am going to say goodbye for now. The next part you will be watching is part 6. We'll see what happens next. Or at least you will. This is the Esperanza 2 for 3, signing out. Bye-bye!